Hello everybody, my name is Sonny Malone. I'm with Sugar Creek Ag. I just wanted to thank you for watching this video. I'm excited to be here with Joe Pflum on his family farm in central Indiana. And Joe is the national agronomist for Aqua-Yield, a product line that we are very excited to be distributing. Joe, one thing I had mentioned to you several months ago was the fact that technology has changed so much in the industry, whether it be seed varieties and genetics, chemistries, equipment. But the one thing that really hasn't changed over the years is technology and how to get nutrients into a plant. And this is what's so exciting. So if you could just tell everybody a little bit about nanotechnology, Aqua-Yield, and just how we got to where we are.
Thank you. Yeah, so Aqua-Yield is primarily a technology company that focuses in nano-liquid technology based out of Utah, started by Clark and Warren Bell in 2014. They are sod farmers. They were introduced to this technology. They got their hands on it. They worked on developing it with collaboration from other sod farmers in their network. They worked on obviously developing research that kind of got us to this point of packaged product. So what nano-liquid technology is, we focus on nanoparticles. Nanoparticles are really, really small. Anything that's measured in a nanoparticle or a nano whatever is under 100 nanometers. And a nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter. And
let's put that in perspective a little bit. We were talking earlier that the width of a hair is like 75,000 nanometers wide.
Yeah, and our particles range anywhere from 10 to 75, under 100. So it's really, really small. And we always try to come up with these great analogies on how to describe how small a particle really is, just to get people, we're on the molecular level. Nanoparticles occur naturally. It's part of this mineralization process of weathering of soil. Eventually everything will become a nanoparticle, and then our nanoparticles will eventually break down into their elemental parts. But from there, they occur naturally. And so through evolution, there's this process of endocytosis that's a naturally occurring process within all plants and biological organisms. It's how viruses and particles enter the cell, things that are too big to go through diffusion or active transport. Diffusion and active transport are pretty much the methods that we currently exploit to get our crop protection in, absorb our nutrition, whatever we want to do, or kill a bug, kill a fungus.
Right.
So with that, we can take a nanoparticle, and because of how we developed it, we can load our crop protection, our crop nutrition, whatever we want. We can load that on the particle, apply that to our crop, and we can just exponentially increase the uptake of whatever, nitrogen, fungicide, herbicide, whatever we're trying to do, we can get it into the plant faster at a higher quantity.
Well, I can tell you one of the things that's really cool is the fact that you guys just didn't dream this up. It is an existing technology that they're using in other industries right now. Absolutely.
Pharmaceutical world uses nanotechnology to administer medicines. If we think about it, a large quantity of a chemotherapy or any kind of a medicine that we would take just goes throughout your body. Well, we can develop nanoparticles to engineer, what they hold, based on their size, shape, and density, and where they go. I mean, these things, we can program them, not like a computer, but just based on size, shape, and the weight of them. But we can deliver medicines way more efficiently, and that's where a lot of these breakthroughs are coming through. Even genetic modification, you have a protein, you want to change a DNA signature. How do you get it inside the cell?
Right.
You load it on a particle.
Well, I think it's awesome that Aqua-Yield's brought this technology to farming. Everybody's always looking for more efficient ways to do things. And I think products like Nano Pro, Nano N are really starting to do that for folks. I know this is going to be our second year using the product. I know that when you got on board with them a couple of years ago, you actually used some product yourself, correct?
Yeah. We have a product called Nano CS. It's a crop starter. That is the product that won my heart over. We use in-furrow fertilizers, and that was in 2020. Utilized that product in combination with my in-furrow fertilizer, and that's what won my heart over. Just
Right.
like there's something here, it's phenomenal.
Well, let's talk about Nano Pro, because
Absolutely.
that's what most people are going to start out using.
Yeah.
It's a product that you can use with a herbicide, a systemic insecticide, and a fungicide, and 4-ounce rate.
Yes.
If you could talk a little bit about, are there any limitations of what you can put this in and how to load it? Because I think that's important too, how to use this tool.
Yeah, and as we grow and develop our products and develop this technology line in our marketplace, we find more and more out about the product itself and where its capacity actually is, and it's almost limitless. We haven't really found anything that we can't mix it with. I'm sure there's something out there, but there's a million different formulations and generic name brands. So we stay pretty well, in the mainstream. We want to be a household name, and so we, if we do jar testing or trialing, we typically do with name brand products. But we haven't found anything to this point that we can't mix these products with.
Right.
They're all water-based. The name of Aqua-Yield, which was the name we started with, is actually because we have to use RO water, because these particles will load the total dissolved solids in groundwater. So that's why mixing order is very important. If we think of it like a magnet, it's going to load whatever we put it with. Again, this is not a silver bullet, it's a tool just to make things a little better. Our existing program, it fits in at the 4-ounce rate, it fits into anybody's program, as long as we're in a liquid environment.
Yeah, and again, it's all about a more efficient means of doing what we've always done.
Yes.
How do we get better? How do we get smarter? You mentioned earlier endocytosis.
Yes.
All right, whip this out of my pocket. Always carry around an Aqua-Yield brochure. No, but you talked a little bit about endocytosis. If you could review that on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Endocytosis, again, it is a naturally occurring process. If we think of how things that are too large to enter through the cell wall, pass through that cell wall membrane, small ions, molecules go through diffusion, active transport, the ion channel. Those two methods are the ones that are primarily used. Those things, they take time. It's charge-based. Diffusion, for example, I pick on, glyphosate products. It takes, we look at rainfast and how long it takes to get a quantifiable amount inside that cell, that plant cell, to kill that plant, to shut down protein synthesis. Where if we can exploit endocytosis by loading glyphosate onto a particle alongside with having diffusion going on and active transport, we can overwhelm that cell. We can shut down protein synthesis faster, which has actually enabled us to go back and revisit weed species that have developed resistance to glyphosate.
Right.
And we can actually have some effect on, killing these weeds, because it's all about time and speed and quantity. These particles, they're derived from silicon dioxide, which makes them a great, we can load things and unload things. They load up by, you put them in your tank mix, whether you mix them in concentrate through an induction cone, follow our mixing order that's printed on our jug. But when they load up with static. So it's almost, it resembles a magnet. It is not a magnet, but it resembles kind of a magnet. So we have these layers and layers of ions or molecules that we can build up on these particles. And once we get all of this stuff loaded and we apply it to the plant, we can get thousands of particles that are loaded with tens of 20s of hundreds of thousands of, whatever we're loading, depending on whatever we loaded.
It's like a Trojan horse.
Right, it is. It has
Taking them right into the
it
plant
can
cell.
hold a very large payload capacity on the surface of this particle. And these particles they're very porous. There's a lot of surface area on the particle, from outside to inside, kind of like Swiss cheese, right? There's a lot of nooks and crannies and surface area even on the inside of these. But with that being said, we have things that load on first are obviously a little more protected, right? They're going to stay on, they'll be the first to get on, last to get off.
Right.
But with that, we have these ability to build up layers on these particles.
One of the things, Joe, that people ask me a lot is, do I need to use a surfactant? And I tell them yes, because a surfactant and Nano Pro are two different animals.
Absolutely they are. We use a surfactant, as somewhat of a, sometimes they're deposition aids, a surfactant can cut through the waxy cuticle on that leaf because we still have to get into the plant. But then, once we're into the plant, that's when we can take over and deliver the payload capacity at that cellular level at a large quantity. The other thing that's always mentioned is, back on that mixing order, we really don't want to load the surfactant on the particle. We want to load our active ingredient or our nutrient, whatever it is we want to get to the cellular level. It doesn't make any sense to load surfactant on the particle and take that surfactant, into the cell, because that's not any good.
That's not what you want to take.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned nutrients. Brings us to Nano-N.
Yes.
Similar concept as Nano Pro. Nano Pro is for your herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides.
Yes.
About delivering them into that plant cell. The Nano-N is for your nutrient products.
Yes.
So you're talking liquid nitrogen, over the top side dressing, NPK starters.
You name it. 1034O, UAN, micronutrient applications, anywhere where there's a liquid environment, we have the ability to load onto that particle. We can just induce the uptake of whatever it is we're trying to get out there. That's why we see so much in all of our trial research. We see just a huge impact on yield results with utilizing Nano-N.
Right. If you could, you mentioned trial data. Without kind of going over all of them, you guys did some trial data with Beck's PFR, Precision Planting. In a nutshell, what products were used and what were the type of results seen?
For the corn and soybean data from 2022, the Beck's PFR, we utilize Nano-N, Nano Pro, Nano K. Those are some of the ones we want to highlight. Nano CS. The PTI, we utilize the same products, Nano-N, Nano Pro, Nano CS, and Nano K. Those are the primary products that we focus on in the row crop world, just because they fit in nice with pretty much the standard of what we do and how we grow corn and soybeans.
Right. Well, one of the beauties to these two products is that the Nano Pro is an additional $3 an acre at 4 ounces. The Nano-N is roughly $4 for 4 ounces. And one of the things I tell people all the time, Joe, I said, if you're using a fungicide and you are very pleased with that fungicide, let's say that company came out and said, Joe, we've got a new and improved version of this fungicide. It's going to deliver 10 to 20% more fungicide to that plant. Would you like to try that one? 9 times out of 10, farmers are going to say, yes, what's it cost? It's just $3 more. Let's use that one.
Right?
So that's kind of the tool that Nano Pro is for me.
Absolutely. Nano Pro itself has just proven time and time again of how, again, it's not, we're not out here trying to displace existing products. Because of the ease of use, it's really just making existing programs better, regardless of what you're doing.
To wrap it up, Joe, what would be your message to a grower that's thinking about using these products?
Well, for me, the way that inputs are right now, they're extremely expensive. We can, as a farmer, that's financially invested, one of the things that our input costs, we always, because it's a tangible, we can get our hands around that and we can do the penciling. As expensive as these inputs are, these products are designed to make them more effective, make them do better. Just through stimulating uptake, speed of getting back, correcting a deficiency, speed of weed kill. Those are actually some of the things, that's like an expectation of using Nano Pro. Even on killing slow, it takes 7 days for a grass to turn with glyphosate application. A very common thing that we see with adding Nano Pro is, we're cutting that in under half. Just a visual response.
Well, I think you kind of nailed it just now when you were talking about a farmer and his input dollars and what he's spending.
Yeah.
Without a product like this, and I don't know that it'd ever be 100% absolute, but currently when a guy is spraying herbicide or fungicide or putting out a foliar product or NPK liquids or whatever, they're not getting 100% use of any of that.
No.
Right? So to get more out of your money you're already spending, this is a great insurance policy, so to speak.
Absolutely. It is a must-have in today's world. It really is. And you mentioned the evolution of agriculture, and how we keep evolving and new technologies come out. This is just the next puzzle piece as we move along.
All right, Joe, I appreciate it. I know we could sit here and talk for an hour. I could ask you questions for an hour. I typically do on the phone. But if anybody's got any questions, reach out to us. I can put you in touch with Joe or anybody from Aqua-Yield. Looking forward to working with you. And if you got any questions at all, do not hesitate to call. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, brother.